those beautiful colors, then you know it's the Shirlma Show. Today, we are honored to be in the presence of Shewor Queenta. She provides psychosocial support to primary and secondary schools and organizations. She's also a radio host and she's also an artist. Welcome to the Shirlma Show.
Thank you very much, Shelley, and thanks for the invite.
It's really a pleasure having you here today.
Here.
Okay, so please tell us a little bit about this psychosocial support that you offer to primary, secondary, and higher institutions.
When we talk about psychosocial support, we are talking about helping people. Simply put, it's helping people who are kind of stressful, who are kind of going through trauma, who are kind of depressed, maybe because of one reason or the other, like in a place of war, in a place of violence, repeated violent behavior. We actually have people who go through stress, who go through trauma. So when we offer psychosocial support, it is to help these people, these victims, to be hopeful again. It is to help these victims to believe in themselves once more, to believe in their visions, to believe in their goals, to waive those odds. And when we talk about psychosocial support, it's quite broad.
Okay.
So there are different activities that makes up this psychosocial support. Like the one I love to use most is a psychosocial support called Why Writing Your Name Matters.
Wow.
Why writing your name matters. Why is it important for each and every one of us to write our names? You know, Shelley, when somebody spells your name wrongly, you get really angry. When somebody sabotage your name, you get really upset. Now, this particular psychosocial support comes up when there is a lot of deviant behavior, like in the school system, in the community. You want to be able to mitigate this deviant behavior. You go ahead and you use Why Writing Your Name Matters.
Wow.
This activity is quite interesting because in the beginning of this activity, you actually give the participants, whoever is you are working with, whoever you are targeting, you give them a sheet of paper like what you are holding. And then you ask them to write their name using the left hand. Wow. They will struggle and then they write their name on that sheet of paper. Then you tell them to bend or fold in 3 equal parts. Wow. When they do now, you ask them to put in front of them so that anybody entering the room is able to identify and is able to read that name. Now, what are you telling them? In effect, you are telling them that your name is one of the greatest assets that you need to protect. A good name is better than riches and gold. You are telling them to guard their names jealously. You are telling them to protect their name and shun all sorts of deviant or violent practices, because that name may likely be a liability to their generations tomorrow. Shelley, you can bear with me that some names actually close doors when you mention. Some names open doors. Right. So you will tell them that because of this deviant behavior, because of this radicalism, because of this violent behavior, it's not just going to affect you alone. Yeah. It will go a long way to affect your generation, your unborn generation. Because tomorrow, you may present yourself as the daughter of Mr. A, the daughter of Mr. B, and doors are closed. Contracts are withdrawn, you know, just because of your attitude. Now you get to tell them that when you do all of these things, the deviant practices, you are soiling your name. Now, if Nelson Mandela was a bad person. We will not be calling his name even after his demise.
Yes.
We will not be mentioning the name of Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She was a wonderful woman. She is a woman who actually left her comfort zone to step to the place where poor people live, to understand what it means to be poor. That is why even after their demise, we keep calling their names. They wrote their names positively in the annals of history. And then when you hear about a name like Idi Amin, what comes to your mind?
Yeah.
Wickedness. So we tell these students, if you want people to run at the mention of your name, keep on in your deviant practices. And nobody will want their names.
You do not only aim at maybe institutions of higher learning, but now you've gone down to kids. So I was actually wondering, why is it important for us to start with kids even? Right? Why is it important to bring maybe psychosocial assistance, make kids to have access to this?
You know, there is an African proverb that says it is very difficult to bend an old tree. When we take something like psychosocial support or counseling generally to the secondary or to the primary school, we'll be solving long-term societal problems. Because at that level, these children actually ask a lot of questions, and most of these questions need professional answers. Most of these questions are even scientific questions and need scientific responses. Counseling is not a common sense kind of thing. Counseling is not something that is based on intuition. It is something that you have to test and prove. That is why we work with a lot of psychometric tests. We work with a lot of tests. If you come to me with a problem, Shirley, I will first of all test you. Just like you go to the hospital to see a medical doctor. The medical doctor normally will not just give you drugs. He does not just begin to administer drugs. He wants to diagnose what is it that is happening with you. It's the same with counseling. It's the same with social work. Now, when we take this counseling to the primary schools, we are actually helping these children to understand a whole lot of things. There was a time I was invited to one government primary school to come talk to the children, because it's like all of them wanted to go to the grammar school. And after the orientation, after the sensitization and the education, a lot of them indicated interest in the technical school, in vocational centers, and all of that. So when we don't take this, when we don't give counseling at this level, it's really painful, and it is something that needs to be institutionalized. We need to begin counseling from the base to avoid this confusion. Imagine a child leaving primary 6. That child is not even sure where and why he is going to he will be going to a grammar school, a commercial school, a technical school, and all of that. Most often parents tend to tell them, you are going to go to the grammar school. Why? But when we begin giving them this education, they themselves will tell us at that age in primary 6 that, Mom, Daddy, I think I would like to go to the technical college because of these opportunities that have been given us. If I graduate from a technical college, if I graduate from a grammar college, these are the opportunities and these are the things that I stand to gain. So when we leave it and we take it at the level of secondary school, to me, it is already late. I'm saying so because there is usually a lot of confusion when it comes to the kind of schools, the kind of the career these children will choose, be it grammar, be it the sciences, the arts, the commercial, the technical, and all of that. But when we begin it from even nursery school, yes, you identify, unfortunately, Shirley, our educational system has been structured in a way that does not encourage creativity. Most people, like the show you are hosting, I don't think we are taught these things in school, but it is out of passion. Now you decide to say, no, I will reach out maybe with my journalism knowledge to the community. I will come up with a show like this to educate, to mold and to shape the society. So what am I saying? I'm saying that if we take counseling to the primary school, we begin to offer, because psychosocial support is for everybody. I'm from the Restive Northwest region, and you know what is happening there all this while. Every everybody, almost everybody in that region is depressed. It is not easy down there. Everybody needs it. Just 2 days ago, I went to buy something in a nearby store closer to my house. And there is this woman in a provision store. And she was like, what is this? This child has refused to come to me again. Because the other day, she saw guns. And like, honestly, that child hates that area. A child like that will need psychosocial support. It's for everybody. Because you give people hope by giving psychosocial support.
Thank you. So after the break, more with Shewor Queenta. If you're just joining us today on the Shirlma Show, we've been honored to be in the presence of Shewor Queenta, an artist, radio host, and she's also a specialist when it comes to industrial and organizational psychology. So Queenta, you offer industrial and organizational psychological support to organizations around, right? So tell me, what are some of the common practices that maybe we carry on in organizations that warrant this support?
Yes, Shirley, you can bear with me that there is, in so many organizations, they suffer from this phenomenon of lack of performance and then poor work behavior. A lot of companies, parastatals, confessional institutions go through this. And the psychologist's interest here is to find out why. Why is there poor performance? Why is it that there is a lot of behavioral changes as far as workers in this organization is concerned? We are never really judgmental because we want to be able to go beyond, beneath the water surface to find out why is this happening? Why is this happening to maybe 80% of workers in this organization? Why are they not performant? Why are they not at their peak? So that is where we go beyond. We want to go beyond the subconscious. We go beyond what the ordinary eyes cannot see. Because most often we base our judgments on the conscious, on the behavioral, what we see. Yes, she usually sleeps at work. Yes, she comes late at work. That is what we see. And most often we base our arguments and our judgments on that. Psychologists don't look at it that way. We want to go to the why factor. Why is it happening? And that is where testing is very, very important in all organizations. For example, like I told you about going back to the foundations. When you realize that an organization is not performing at its peak, the problem may come from who was recruited and who was selected. What criteria was taken before the recruitment and the selection exercise? Who even did it? Who did the recruitment and the selection exercise? And this is where personality comes in. We have people who cannot handle certain positions by virtue of the fact that their uniqueness, their personality, who they are, does not tie to that job. That is where the different personality test comes in. We have people who are red, people who are blue, people who are yellow, and people who are purple. These are different personality types that you must test to ensure that you have this person job fit. Wow. You don't take a square peg and then you put in a round hole. It doesn't fit. So we always go back to who did the recruitment exercise, who was selected. You maybe go and realize, you will even get somewhere, and then you realize that somebody who is actually a leader. Like, let me take, for example, the people with the red personality types. They don't follow anyone. They don't have the strength of following people. Their strength is in people follow them. When you take people like that and tie down, you are not doing the organization any good. Because people like this, they want to perform. They want to direct, they want to lead, they want to do a lot of things. And it's only a psychometric test that can reveal that kind of a person. Remember, I told you, psychology or counseling is not based on common sense. For you to get like effective, sustainable results, you must be able to test this individual. When you test this individual, you'll be able to identify their personality, their interest, their passion, their aptitude, their skills, and so many others, their strength, their weaknesses, and then you are now able to know that if I put this particular candidate in this area, in this job position, if I give this job description to this particular candidate, it is going to be a failure.
A disaster.
A disaster. Now, we are also interested in, IO psychologists are interested in training and development. Who is doing this training? How often do these workers have received internal training? Who is even offering the internal training? Like, it's not just enough for you to leave school and then an employer or an organization recruits you and then you are not updating. You need to update. Yes, we are able to identify some of these courses that the workers need, depending on the vision, depending on the mission statement of this organization. Many a times I'm interested in work-life balance.
Wow.
Work-life balance. If you cannot manage your life and manage your work, it's going to be a fiasco. Performance will be right down there. We are in a society where we need to be able to see that you have enough time to work, you have enough time to take care of your children, you have enough time to take care of your family, you have enough time to relate with the community out there. You have enough time to engage in social activities. Once all of these things are not balanced, workers will not put in their best.
Queenta, I think maybe there are actually organizations, okay, that want to have access to psychosocial support, but they're not sure how much it costs, or they are not even able to afford, especially like the small and medium-sized organizations. The reason why I say this is because I've worked with organizations that they kind of bring experts to give us things like maybe kind of like personality tests and all of that, right? But to be honest, it's quite expensive for startups, for instance, right? So, but where can startups or small and medium-sized enterprises, where can they have access to this information, and how much can it cost them approximately?
Anything that is valuable is costly. And if we are able to go for other things or to pay for other services, we should be able to pay for this particular services of psychologists. They do a lot. They do a lot. It's all about research. And like me, it's my own, it's part of my own corporate social responsibility. It's not all about the money. Most often when you ask money, it's for people to even pay for the materials that you will end up giving them, right? You will help, you end up giving them your materials. So you ask for that money, and a very small token as compared to what we have in the Western world. It's not easy to consult a psychologist. It's quite expensive. You go online, you do a research, you find out just her one outing. If you want her to come do a test in your organization, to come work with you for the whole day, it's much money. Here we are not asking for so much because our community, our organization, our community is really underdeveloped. Let me put it that way. And we want to be able to put our hands together to build it, to lift it up. It's not all about money. We are available, like the organization we run, it's a team. We are a team of psychologists. Psych Emergency Consulting. We are online. And we have had a lot of people who reach out to us online to say, even I want you to have a talk with my family. I want you to have a talk just with my children. They pay you for that. I want you to come to my organization and participate in the recruitment and selection exercise. I want you to come and take this test to all my workers in the organization. We have people who reach out to us on Facebook. We are there on Facebook. You can get to us, get through our page, and then you contact us. We are available. just be serious and don't be a kind of how do I put it? Just be serious, because once you are serious, once you really want that change, once you want to see that different result, we will always put our heads together. We go beyond that. We go beyond just, at times, we even use our resources. We use the resources of our members, but not for people to take it for granted.
Yeah.
For example, Douala is a very rich place. It has companies. In Bamenda, we have, how many companies do we have? We don't even have. So when somebody in Douala wants to see you, they should be ready at least to sacrifice, to give you something that is reasonable. I cannot give you a price tag. It depends, because when you give a price tag, now you may discourage some people, and then some people will not be able to afford your services. That is what it is. That is a problem. So once you are serious and you need our services, get to us.
Wow.
Get to us.
You might not understand what Queenta is saying. If you're just joining us today on the Shirlma Show, we were honored to be in the presence of Shewor Queenta, an artist, a radio talk show host, and someone who is doing a lot when it comes to psychosocial activities, helping pupils, helping students, and helping even higher institutions, not leaving out organizations. So, Queenta, you have a lot of rich experience. So what is that advice that you can give to entrepreneurs? You know, these days you have a lot of entrepreneurs coming in. Entrepreneurship can actually be a very, very challenging exercise at times. And sometimes people feel like giving up. Sometimes they're kind of like, should I go on? Should I stay? So what advice do you have for entrepreneurs?
Thank you, Shirley, for that brilliant question. The concept entrepreneur, entre is a French word meaning to enter.
Wonderful.
That is to say that no one was born an entrepreneur. We become. You decide to become an entrepreneur, either economic, either social, either agriculture, in every sphere. It depends on you. You enter into it. And a lot of people, the concept entrepreneurship frightens a lot of people, because when it is mentioned, a lot think that they begin to think of this business tycoons, like the Dangotes, like the Big Gates, and so many of them. No. Everybody, even our parents in the village, our farmers, our mothers who are farmers, they are the biggest entrepreneurs of all. We can always start small. Just a few days ago, I met one of a friend who is a sound engineer, and he told me that, Mom, hi, see how people are making money laying blocks, and I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to go there. I really need money, but what will my friends say? You see the mindset. It's a very wrong one. You are so much concerned about what your friend will think and what your friends will say. Growing up in primary school, I molded blocks. There was a time when I was driven for a certain, the school authorities needed something. I don't know, I can't really lay my hand on what that 2,800 francs was for. My mother had traveled to Yaoundé at that time. And remember, there were no phones, nothing to even communicate. My father was working in Bafang at that time. What happened is, I came back home that day and I went to a lane block making center. And in those days, a block was something like 10 francs, 15 francs, 20 francs, 25 francs. I did that, and the following day, I went and paid that 2,800 francs. My mother has never forgotten that incident. You start small. This entrepreneurial mindset, these entrepreneurial skills, it starts small. You must not have so much capital to kickstart. You can start even in your farm. You can start with your garden. If you have been storming Mannequin on Facebook, you see how how my garden is transforming a lot of mindsets. And people are like, you do all of this, you are a worker, you are working for the state, and you are, I love farming. If you take farming away from me, you have finished me. You have killed me. Right now, if you go to my kitchen, you see fowls. You see water leaf. I mean, in the middle of dry season, you will not believe the kind of fresh things that you will see in my farm. You will see cassava. You will see yam. Sometimes I even remove and sell and solve some problems, some family problems. So they always want to start big. This thing of white collar, this thing of, they neglect the blue collar, what we call blue collar, but that is what gives money. Because it's all about solving problems. It's all about meeting people's needs. You know, that is where I go back to this concept of success. Shirley, it needs that concept needs to be redefined. You are not rich and you are not successful because you have a car, because you have some mansion somewhere, because you have pieces of plot, hectares all over. It's because of the lives you are changing. It's because you are able to bring smile on people's faces. If you are that kind of a person, count yourself the most successful woman and man on planet Earth. Most of these things are deceiving us. It deceives us. It makes us to look at ourselves like we are nothing. We are not worthy. We are not even up there. We can't do anything. We can't change anything. Because the bottom line is identify an area of need. Cave a niche in an area. An area of need. There's a difference between a need and a want. What is it that people need and that is not even available? Think about that and then settle on it. It may be challenging in the beginning, but the reward, just like the Shirlma Show, it's going to go far. Maybe in the beginning it's like, look at the Oprah Winfrey, this guy in the US. They started like this. It's consistency, believing in yourself, doing it over and over.
Wow, that's really, really amazing.
So, to the young people, they should keep shame away, because at the end of the day, it is your happiness that matters. See, the worst life on earth is living a dependent life, begging from people. It's even something that the Bible condemns, beggars. It's not good. Identify something. Do it. A skill, because we are in a skill era. This is the era. People want to see what you can do. You don't go to an organization and they say, who are you? Or what do you do? Like this question. It's always everywhere, even after workshops, even during networkings. You have people who come to you, what do you do? Or you say, I work with, for example, you call a company just because of the prestigious nature of that company. Yeah. Or you say, I'm the director of this. You have not told the person what he wants to hear. If you give that kind of response to somebody like Dangote, who maybe won't have in mind, he has something in mind, you have failed. They won't listen to you. It's not about the company, it's not about your job title. It's about the problems you have solved and the results, the feedbacks you are getting. Who are you? I'm a counselor. So what? What are you doing? How are you a counselor? That is what every employer, every right-thinking human being wants to hear. What can you do? What have you changed? What impact have you created so far?
Let's relax now with some few questions, okay? So we have those questions, okay, that we just plead with you. You take any, and feel free. If you don't want to answer, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What are your most important rules when going on a date? What is a date?
Oh, wow.
Dating is different from when you say you want to go out for a date. There is a difference between dating and courting.
Okay.
So this dating to me, it's something else.
Okay.
It's not what a lot of people think. I think that I no longer go out for dates.
Okay.
As far as this dating to me is concerned,
Okay.
I'm married.
Yeah.
And I don't go out for dates anymore.
Okay.
What other languages would you learn if given the chance to, and why? Shirley, I must tell you that I'm a great cultural promoter, and when it comes to language, language defines us. Language is our identity.
Yeah.
This Queen language that you and we speak, it's not our language, it's borrowed. Okay, it's borrowed, and it's really not something to be proud of, because when we find ourselves elsewhere and we are speaking this English, nobody will know who we are. No one wants their identity to be hidden. If I'm to learn any language now, I want to learn my husband's language. My husband is Com.
Okay.
I want to learn my mother's language. My mother is Akum.
Wow.
Because I fluently speak Baba One.
Wow.
If you give me an opportunity now, I want to know Akum. It's my roots. My mother came from Akum. I should be able to communicate effectively in Akum.
Makes sense.
I should be able to communicate effectively in my husband's language. Sometimes when I'm there, I really feel horrible. When they have their family meetings and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Yes, when they have their family meetings and they are even communicating, you can't understand anything. Maybe they are talking about you. The next question is, during the creation of man, which body part will you have added, removed, or change its position if God gave you the chance? I love this question.
Oh, tell me.
You know what?
No.
Our God is so perfect. There is no human part, there is no body part that if asked, I will tell you, God, take this off. Just imagine 5 fingers, transform into 6. Funny. 2 eyes. Before you know, you have 3 eyes, or have 1. You will just be so odd. Or 3 legs. What to do with it? What will you do with 3 legs? What will you do with 1 leg? So our God is so perfect, perfect in everything, perfect in all his ways. He is an epitome of perfection. And if asked, which part should be added or removed? No part. No part. It's so perfect like this.
Wow.
We are so perfect the way we are.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Queen. So, Queen, before you go, you cannot just come on the Shirlma Show and you give us all this information. I'm sure people kind of like they'll start hitting us and be like, okay, how can we reach her? So please, how can people get to you?
Okay, you can reach out to me through the number 67343 2933. 67343 2933. Or contact me through my social media handles. On Facebook, you can get to me through Mani Queen, my personal account, Mani Queen. On YouTube, you can contact me on Mani Queen SQ or Mani Queen Empowerment Show. On LinkedIn, you can contact me through the name Shewor Queenta.
So it's really been a pleasure having you here today, Queenta. Thank you so much. Honestly, the knowledge has been enriching. And I was just like a student, I like being a student anyway on the Shirlma Show. I get to learn a lot, so that's my favorite part, really. So thank you for being here with us, honestly.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you for inviting me. It was really a huge privilege.
So today we were honored to be in the presence of Shewor Queenta, someone who has actually been in the business of providing psychosocial support to primary and secondary schools and to institutions of higher learning, not leaving out organizations. She's also a radio talk show host and an artist. She's also a counselor. Thank you for always being here with us. We were blessed to be in your presence. We are here because you're there. And please Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos. Thank you.